Hello friends and potters. Welcome. Welcome indeed, yes. I'm on a journey. Maybe you're on a journey as well. Maybe you're not on a journey. Maybe, well, let's say maybe you are on a journey, but you don't know that you're on a journey. Journey of discovery. Life is full of discoveries, isn't it? Yes. One of the things that I'm discovering is there's a very simple truth, and that is you are what you eat. So it's fundamentally important that what I'm putting into my body, I know what it is. So I'm somebody who's become very aware of food labeling. I'm somebody who's become very aware of, through a little bit of doing my own research on the internet, I've had my eyes opened to a lot of things that I was ignorant about. They say ignorant is bliss. Well, maybe it isn't. Maybe it isn't so blissful after all. And maybe truth is a lot more blissful than ignorance. Anyway, what am I trying to say? Yeah, wow, it's amazing, isn't it? What they put in food and why they put it there. You know, and the need to eat whole foods and not processed foods. Anyway, these are things that are an ongoing discussion, aren't they? But they are things that are vitally important to our well-being, that we know what we eat, we know what's in our food, and we know what food not to eat because of those things that they put into the food. So one of the things that I've really enjoyed, Jennifer and that is, we recently bought a juicer. So we're juicing carrots, celery, apples. Of course, I have to say, organic. That's one of the areas where I've had my eyes opened, is to pesticides and sprays and what they put onto fruit and vegetables and things, that, man, they are really bad for you. Anyway, here's to you, good health, friends and potters. Here is a glass of health, and I know what it is, and I know what it is I'm putting into my body, and I am what I eat and drink. Gosh, it's so good. Bit of ginger, carrot juice, apple, fantastic. Well, Simon, always talk about food. We're not here to listen to that, we're here to learn about pottery. Well, so you are. But don't forget, there's a terrific, we as potters, there's a terrific link, isn't there, between food and pottery. So, on that note, I am going to get down on the wheelhead where the action is with my juice. And actually, what I'm really doing is making some small pie dishes or flan dishes. So let's get the camera down now. Why don't you join me? See if we can get reasonably close to where we need to be. And that's right here, like that. Now I've already got some clay prepared, and these are £2 each. These flan dishes. So yeah, £2 of clay, £2 of clay. What else is it? It's, yeah, they're going to be, for those of you out there who all the time say to me, "Oh Simon, well what? I wish you'd told us how heavy it was, or what it was weighing in at, or how wide it was, or whatever." I'm going to give you the dimensions, okay? 2 pounds, and it's 8. Well, I've got it down at 8 3/8, but we might make it 8 1/2. That's wide, and 2 1/4 high. So it's a fairly shallow dish. Kind of dish though that will look nice with some of that healthy food I was talking to you about a minute ago in. So I'm using my Shimpo wheel because my kick wheel I use for porcelain inside here anyway. I've got another kick wheel outside, but that's got stoneware in, but that's staying out there till spring. Right, so let's go. So this wheel is kind of quiet, certainly quieter than this stool. God, it's so noisy, isn't it? It's all that creaky. Ah, it's terrible. Wait a minute, I may just have to do a little repair job here. I think I can stand this noise. It's driving me nuts. Try and do it up a bit. I think it's... maybe that will make a difference. Let us hope so. Yeehaw. Okay, now I've got here a gauge. This is a new gauge that somebody has sent to me, and we're going to try that out as well. Alright, so what I want going to do is going to make this little flan dish, pie dish, and then we're going to set a gauge. Alright, let's go. Now these are going to be made on bats. Okay, so I'm not going to be trying to lift the flan dish off. So we're going to centre the clay. That's always the first thing, isn't it? Getting the clay on centre. You know, when you centre, when you put your hands to the lump of clay, do you know what I'm conscious of? I'm conscious of this little finger here, because this is the part of my hand that is on the wheel, and this finger here, the little pinky finger, is kind of wrapping around and making that join between the lump of the clay and the wheel head. So I'm very aware of that. And then I start to draw the clay upwards, you see. Okay, till we get that conical shape. And now I call this coning up, and then I'm going to centre down. So then we, keeping this hand on the right here, this one, keeping that to steady the lump of clay. Alright, because when you're pushing down like that, you need this here like this. Otherwise the clay, when you push down, can squidge out the side, can't it? So by keeping that there, you are maintaining the clay on centre. Right, so basically just going down. Alright, now I'm establishing a base thickness right there. Ah, no, where's my... I just need to get my needle tool, folks. Hang on a sec. I've got it here in my toolbox. I hope. Yep. Now this is never a bad idea when you're throwing flat shapes to be a bit more critical of your thickness through the base. Because as you can appreciate, if you're making it too thick through the base, and you've got a wide base that's covering a lot of area, you're going to be using up more clay than you need to. So why don't we just stick the needle in and get a reading. We should be looking at something around about 1/4 of an inch thick, okay? Which that is, that's okay. Good. Okay, so now we're going to feed the clay out with my left hand to 3 o'clock, okay? Always thinking of the pot in front of me like the face of a clock. So when I say 3 o'clock, I mean this way. 9 o'clock would be that way, 12 that way, 6 this way. So I'm feeding this out. This is basically a flat form with a raised edge. Okay, let's just take a reading for width at this stage. All right, it's looking okay. What we're going to do now is we've got. Okay, now concentrate at this moment in time in making sure that the base is flat. Now, what do I mean by flat? I mean flat, not dipping flat, beginning and then dipping down into a groove here. You know, you start in the center, and as you get further out, you go down, you dig down, till it gets like wafer thin. You know, that's no good. We want it a nice, even, consistent flatness or thickness all the way across. Right, now I've got that off my chest. Okay, so there you go. You've got your. So I'm now just going to simply raise this edge. You see, like that. And raise that edge. Bring him up. And what we're going to do is we are going to roll a rim on the top of this. Okay, so we're just going to pull that over like that, and then carry him right round and down. There he is, rolled rim. Okay, so now's the time. We're going to take another look at this, at the width of it. Yeah, that's at the moment it's 8 1/4. Could be a fraction more. Oh yeah, what about the height? What about the height? And the height is also a little bit under. So we need a fraction wider and a fraction deeper or taller. However you want to think of it. You see now, for the given weight of clay, we've got here roughly a base that's 1/4 of an inch thick. I don't have much clay to spare, you see, at this stage, but I've got to get it wider and also a little taller. Let's just check that again. Ooh, well, we've gone out now to 8 1/2, but that's okay. Actually, I'm happy with that. I'm just getting 2 inches out of that. Why did I think it was 2 1/4? I wrote down 2 1/4. I did one, you see, the other day, and let's just leave this one at 2 inches. So we're going to use the leather on the rim. I'm going to get our throwing stick. Just going to go down the outside there. Just clean it off. And we're going to put in an undercut, a 45-degree undercut. Okay, that's what this tool is good for. Doing that undercut there. That's it. It's a little bit awkward to get in because of the side of the tray here. Alright, that'll do. I know I have already leathered it, haven't I? Yes, I did. Okay, good. cut-off wire. Right, now before I take this off the wheel, what we're going to do is, I'm just going to wipe my hands, and then I'm going to set this gauge that somebody has sent to me. Alright. I said I test it out, you see. Sometimes people send me tools. And it's always fun to test out tools, isn't it? Hang on. This only came this morning, and I'm not really used to it, to be honest. This, as I say, is just a test. Yeah. I'm going to move that back a touch. You really want about 1/8 of an inch clearance between the pointer and the work. Now I made one of these, as I said, I made one yesterday, and I just want to compare the difference. This is what we're making. All right. And I just want to compare these, because this one I'm sure I made it. Yeah, this one is a little bit taller. And this one, yeah, this one's got a little bit more of it's a little bit more open like that, if you see what I mean. It's a little bit more open. Actually, but I'm thinking I'm preferring that, in actual fact, than the original one I did. That's the way of things, isn't it? You make one and then you take some measurements, and then you make another one, and then you think, you know, you make some improvements, or you fine-tune it. That's what it's all about, fine-tuning it and getting it maybe, you know, just very slightly different. But I think that's what we're going to do. I'm going to change that to 2 inches high. So at this stage what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cut-off tool. Now I'm just going to say a word here about cut-off wires. Alright, you can use a metal wire. I don't, I use a piece of nylon. It's thinner, it's more flexible. If it breaks, it doesn't jab my fingers with sharp bits of metal. Okay. I actually like, though, having said that, I actually like a cut-off wire that is twisted, because it gives a nice twisted effect. I've gone for one of these though, because they're if you do break them, they're cheap and easy and quick to replace. And I carry a little roll of nylon here in my toolbox, which I've had for 1,000 years. Here, okay, and this is actually it's 8 kilo. Is it 8? Yeah, 8 kilogram breaking strain nylon. You don't want it so thick that when you cut through it creates a lot of drag. You want it fairly fine but strong enough, if you follow me. Okay, that's that. The other thing is, you really want to have this, and you've heard me say this many times, but you really want to have this about 12 12 inches between the toggles. Alright? Don't make it longer. If you make it longer, invariably every wire I've seen out of everybody's toolkit, everybody uses the same kind of wire, which should be banned from every pottery workshop. Well, every pottery wheel, let's say, is one of these. Everybody has one of these. Do you have one of these? Everybody seems to have one of these. And the problem with them is that they are too long. You see? You see the difference? Alright, this is far too long. This is a wire that is really for the kneading table, for cutting off lumps of clay and that kind of thing. It's not for use on the wheel, although it is sold as such, but it really is not the right kind. So it's worth mentioning that. Invariably what happens, as you all know, those of you who use these for cutting off your work, because they are too long, everybody has to do this. You have to wind them, don't you, around your fingers so that you get it short enough so you can use it. And what happens to these wires when they get wound around your fingers enough times, they get all kind of, they're not straight anymore, they all become kind of kinked and everything. So, I'm actually going to be selling some cut-off wires, which will be appearing on my website. And they're going to be nylon, and they're going to be the right length, and one end is going to be wooden, and the other end is going to be clay. Well, why do you do that? That's a funny arrangement. Why have one made out of wood and one made out of clay? Well, whoops. You have the heavy one, in other words the clay one, you have that, or in this case, these are both wood, but you'll see that one is bigger than the other, isn't it? That's because the big one is therefore heavier. So you have the heavy toggle always on the inside of the tray, and the light end flips over the side. Okay? And there's a reason for that, and that is because in the process of cutting off, alright, you're going to take the wire. Now let's just say something here about cutting off. Often people ask me and they say, oh Simon, I notice you cut off when you cut away from you don't pull towards you. Well, there's a reason for that. If you work to a gauge and you're a kind of production potter, alright, if you think now you're going to pull towards you, how are you going to do it with the gauge in the way there? The only way you can do it is by feeding this through that little gap, okay, there. Now I can cut off. Okay, you could do that, you could argue that's one way of doing it. Or you can take the wire, okay, and when you pull it, you just take the wire like that in the hand and just pull it. And the toggles, you see, come to the back of my hands there, you see the toggles? Okay, that leaves my thumb, now it's the right length and my thumbs are free, alright, to push the wire down onto the wheel head. Okay, and then I cut across. I'm going to do that, and what will happen is, as I cut across, I let go of the wire here on this side, because I can't go all the way because of the gauge. I let it go there. The wheel then will take it across and deposit it there. It works like this. Let's just show you. Cross, let go. You see, now the wheel, you see, takes it round and will deposit it here. Okay? So that's why you need to have one end heavier and the other end light, so that when that little operation happens and the wire comes through here, okay, the heavy end will fall down in there and it'll stop it flipping over the side of your tray onto the floor. Anybody had a wire fall on the floor? Okay, well, if you have one end weighted heavier than the other, you'll find that won't happen. Okay, so that's the whys and wherefores of cutting off, and the different ways of cutting off. Either pulling towards you, which is fine, you can do that if you're not using a gauge, or if you are using a gauge, then you need to develop this method of cutting away from you And in the process of doing that, you let go of the wire, the wheel which is going round, then you see, takes the wire and deposits it over here. And the heavy end sinks down in there, and that's it. I don't have to touch the wire again, it's there. It's there for the next time, for the next cut, for the next pot. So, there we go. Oh, I tell you, get one of these juicers, they are so good. You can really get some nutrients and some real beneficial drinking. They say about juiced vegetables and fruit that the nutrients and enzymes and all the goodness pretty much is really rapidly absorbed into the blood, much quicker than if it has to go through your digestive system. Great stuff, love it. Alright, so as I say, these I'm going to let's just give you a cross-section view of that, and let's just compare it to the one I did before, and you can see that the one I've just done slightly more V-shaped, okay, and not quite as tall as the first one, but I think it's more attractive, slightly more V-shaped. So I'm going to stick with that one, folks. I'm running some workshops here in the studio, so please join us, and you can go on the website simonleachpottery.com and you can see there the details, so just get in touch. So there we have it. All that remains to be said is, you've heard it once, you've heard it twice. You've probably heard it, I don't know how many times. Many times. And it's as true, every time you say it, it's true, isn't it? If you do it. If you do it. Do you do it? Keep practicing. See you soon. Bye bye.